Aloha, lovely adventurers. How are you today? Today, I wanted to chat with you about how to find your people in the online space. Now, if you haven't watched my last video, which I dropped yesterday, then please go and watch that because I kind of did a little bit of a lead in to this video, which was about getting support and why it's so integral on your entrepreneurial journey. So please go watch that first and then come back to here. So today, I specifically want to chat about finding your people. How do you find the right people that are going to allow you to be your most thriving, beautiful self and for your business and yourself to grow? And I'm going to break it down into a few questions. So these are a few things you need to look for when you're looking at finding those people who are in alignment with you and can help you thrive. So the first question is, do the people in the group, I'm assuming that you're looking at Facebook groups, do the people in the group feel like people I want to hang out with, right? That's an easy one because business is meant to be fun. And if you've been told otherwise, it's because you haven't had someone like me. It is really meant to be fun, especially when we are creating it from a soul-aligned, soul-purpose place. Because on an energetic level, our soul, our spirit is playful. And we need to remember that even though we come into this business space, that is traditionally really serious. So use this question very wisely. Do the people in the group feel like people I want to actually hang out with? Would I love having a cup of coffee with them? Would we have an absolute blast? And if the answer is yes, you're probably in the right place. The second question that I would ask when I'm looking for my tribe or my people online is, does this group or this page align with the goals of my business? So remember that you also want to make your online interactions very useful for you. You don't want to be like all over the show and wasting time online. Well, I don't anyway. You probably don't either. So does it align with the goals of my business? Obviously, you need to know your goals of your business. Are the goals of your business is that you need to learn something? So does this page teach me something that I need to know? Or does it allow me to promote the products or offers that I have for my business? So know what your goals of your business are, and then ask yourself, does this group or page align with it? So I have often joined groups because there's something that I need to learn about. And then once I feel like I'm really comfortable with that thing, I just leave the group. Sorry, but that's what happens, right? So using your time wisely online to not only find your tribe, that is, all the people who are right for you, but also looking at whether it's going to help your business as well, because you are here to grow your business. The third thing I would say is, does this group interact in a way that is honest and authentic? And by honest and authentic, I also mean, are they accepting of differences? And I want to give you a concrete example here. So I was part of this kind of awkward interview, and I'm not going to name the page or the people involved, but I was kind of part of this awkward interview. And if you know me, I tend to swear, and I do consider myself one of very, very spiritual. I bring in spiritual soul alignment, energetic practices into my coaching space. I talk about them a lot here if you have followed me or seen my posts. And I was being interviewed on this other spiritual page, except one of their things was that you're not allowed to swear. I was like, what? Not that I plan to swear, it just comes out because it feels like the right energy that needs to get across the message. But I found that really restrictive. And I was instantly like, oh. And so the whole time when I was on this interview, I was like this little backstory, making sure that I wasn't saying it, and I was saying it in a way that wasn't going to offend anyone. So please look if the group interacts in a way that is honest and authentic, and i.e., do they accept differences? Authenticity and individuality go together, and they're not about complying necessarily to a way of doing things They're not about complying to some kind of professionalism. I really, if you've heard me talk about this, oh my God, I'm going to go on a tangent. I shouldn't go on a tangent. I'm going to go on a little tangent. So if you heard me talking about this, I'm like, we got to give up the professional thing because it's really stifling our creativity here. And it's stifling our way of expressing ourselves in our soul-aligned businesses. And I just do not believe, I believe that's one of the old paradigms of doing business, is having this professionalism. And I honestly think that that is dying, and people are looking for more authenticity and more individuality so that you are actually like a human being relating with another human being rather than a business relating with a human being. So I would say, little rant, number 3, the third question is, does this group interact in a way that is honest and authentic with each other, and are they accepting of differences? So we are very hell-bent on freedom of self-expression on this page, so you can see why I've added in that question, right? The fourth question is, do their rules allow me to still fully express myself? So I gave you that beautiful example just before. You know, am I allowed to still fully express myself on this page? If it is stifling you in some way, and of course, remember that self-expression comes from a compassionate place of love first. It's not about attacking people and all that sort of stuff, but another whole life. But are they stifling me in some way? Are their rules going to make me have to fit into a box? I believe, again, that is not the right way, that everyone should have this beautiful connection with their soul and being able to express that in a way that feels really authentic and individual to them. And I honestly think that when we have pages that encourage us to have that then we start to see all of the differences and the flavors in the world, and that makes you way more appealing to certain people and also not appealing to other people. So that's number 4. Do their rules allow me to still fully express myself? The last question, of course, is kind of like an overall, overarching question of everything I've talked about right now. Will this group or group of people allow me to be myself, or help me grow into more of my authentic self or not? Again, this comes around to whether they have a kind of unwritten, so some people don't have these set as rules, but they have like an unwritten environment that kind of says, this is okay, but this is not, right? And I have been part of those groups and I've left. The rebel in me was like, ugh. And I've been part of those groups which were very professional, and they never talked about emotion, and they just talked about practical things. And if someone said, you know, I'm feeling a little bit like this, they're like, well, you just need to do it. There was kind of like very little compassion. And it reminded me of the trauma that I had being in corporate. Okay, I'm totally exaggerating there. I didn't have trauma when I was working in corporate. But it did remind me of the corporate world, which again is part of that masculine energy, which I think is part of why we have that idea of business having to have some kind of professionalism, which it does in different ways. We'll talk about that at another live maybe. But it reminded me of that, and that felt, which is exactly why I left the corporate world, because I didn't feel like I could fully express myself, and it didn't feel like the best use of my energy in the space. So will this group allow me to be, or help me to grow into more of my authentic self or not? So those are the few questions that I would ask before I dropped in or joined in any kind of tribe, any kind of group online, is always these questions. And if one of them is off, I don't join. I'm very selective. In fact, I'm going through my groups now and going, I'm part of way too many and deleting some. So this is really important because, as you remember from my video yesterday, if you haven't watched it, go see it. Support is integral to thriving in the entrepreneurial space. You can't do this thing alone. And I really want to make sure that you know that, because you need to know that in order for you to have longevity in your business and in order for you to make this an easier and way more fun journey for you. So let me know if any of this resonates. I'd love to hear your comments. And until next time, have a fabulous day. Bye for now.